The landscape of Mortis crumbles. Reality itself fractures as the realm of the Force wielders collapses inward, stone platforms breaking into geometric fragments that dissolve into light and shadow. The father lies dying, the dagger of Mortis embedded in his chest, his sacrifice complete. The son is dead. The daughter is dead. The balance they held for millennia is broken, and Mortis, this place outside time, this convergence point where past and future touch, is ending. Anakin Skywalker kneels beside the father. His blue eyes are hollow. His hands shake. Behind him, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka Tano stand at a respectful distance, both exhausted, both marked by what they've witnessed on this impossible world. Obi-Wan's expression is guarded, his mind still processing the memory of Anakin's eyes burning yellow with dark side corruption, the moment his former Padawan force pushed his speeder into molten rock. Ahsoka shifts her weight, uncomfortable, sensing something wrong in Anakin's force presence but unable to name it. The father's hand rises toward Anakin's face. The movement is slow, deliberate, carrying the weight of cosmic authority. His voice, thin as wind through empty chambers, speaks words that will determine the fate of the galaxy. You are the chosen one. You have brought balance to this world. Stay on this path, and you will do it again for the galaxy. His finger extends toward Anakin's forehead. But beware, your heart. The finger approaches. Anakin's breathing quickens. He knows what comes next. The sun showed him. In the well of the dark side, in that volcanic pit saturated with malice, the sun forced visions into his mind. 6 images that burned themselves into his consciousness with the permanence of scars. He saw Padme, his secret wife, her face pale, her hand going limp, her eyes empty. He was choking her. His hand, mechanical black-gloved, was extended toward her throat, and she was dying, and he was the one killing her. He saw the Jedi Temple, younglings, children with training sabers, their faces turned toward him in confusion and hope. Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? And then his lightsaber ignited, and they screamed. He saw Chancellor Palpatine, but not the kindly mentor, not the warm father figure who called him my boy. He saw an emperor in black robes, lightning crackling from withered fingers, yellow eyes blazing with malice. And Palpatine's face wore a smile that said, I made you. He saw Mustafar, lava rivers, black sand, the heat so intense it warped the air, and Obi-Wan standing over him, tears streaming down his face, lightsaber in hand. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you, and his own body, what remained of it, burning. He saw Alderaan, a beautiful world, green and blue and peaceful, and then light, blinding, absolute light as the entire planet exploded into debris, billions of voices crying out, and then silenced. And he was there. He was on the battle station that fired the weapon. He was complicit. He saw himself, not as he is now, young, strong, whole. He saw what he becomes, a figure in black armor, a mask like a skull, breathing with a mechanical rhythm that will haunt him forever. I am your father. The voice that comes from that mask is his voice, but deeper, filtered through machinery, stripped of humanity. Darth Vader. That is the name. That is what the chosen one becomes. The father's finger touches his forehead. The memories begin to dissolve. Padme's face blurs. The youngling's screams fade. The heat of Mustafar cools to nothing. For 1 second, it is relief. Pure, absolute relief. The burden lifts. The horror recedes. He can forget. He can be free of knowing what he will become. But then he sees it. The last image, the final vision before it all disappears forever. Padme's hand going limp in his mechanical grip. And something in him, something fundamental, something that has carried him from slavery to the Jedi to this moment, refuses. His hand shoots up and grabs the father's wrist. The force explodes between them. Mortis convulses. The ground beneath them cracks with light. The air itself screams. The chosen one's power, over 20,000 midi-chlorians per cell, the highest count ever recorded. The raw potential that let him simultaneously control both the son and the daughter on this very world, collides with the cosmic authority of the father. 2 expressions of the force, 2 wills, meeting in a space where reality is negotiable. Anakin's eyes are rimmed with gold, not the sulfuric yellow of the dark side, something else, the sheer intensity of will made visible. His voice, when it comes, is not a shout. It is absolute. I will not forget. The father stares at him. For the first time since they arrived on Mortis, the ancient being's composure cracks. What shows beneath is not anger. It is sorrow, deep, cosmic sorrow, the grief of someone who sees a path and cannot change it. Then you carry a burden no mortal was meant to bear, the father says. I've carried worse, Anakin says. He hasn't, but he will. The father's expression shifts, something like a smile, but tragic, resigned. Not yet, young Skywalker, not yet. His form begins to dissolve, light separating from shadow, both flowing into the Force. His last words are barely audible. The choice is yours. It was always yours. May you choose, better than I fear. He is gone. Anakin releases the wrist he was holding, now empty air. He stands in the crater where the father died, and the weight that was lifted for 1 second crashes back down with compound interest. The memories are not fading. They are crystallizing, sharpening. Every detail the sun showed him in the well of the dark side is permanent now, burned into his mind with a clarity that will never diminish. He sees it all, simultaneously. The younglings and Padme and Obi-Wan and the mask and the breathing and the Emperor and Alderaan and every single moment of the monster he will become. His hands shake. He looks down at them, flesh and blood, human hands, the hands that built C-3PO and flew a podracer and held a lightsaber. These hands will kill children. These hands will choke his wife. These hands will serve a Sith Lord for decades. Anakin? Obi-Wan's voice. Cautious. Worried. Anakin cannot look at him. When he glances toward his former master, he doesn't see the man who trained him for a decade. He sees a figure standing over his burning body on Mustafar, face twisted with anguish, saying words Anakin can hear perfectly now. You were the chosen one. It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them. He forces himself to turn, forces his face into something neutral. Master? Obi-Wan approaches slowly, reading Anakin's body language the way a decade of partnership has taught him to read it. What did the father do? I saw. There was light. Power. What happened? Anakin swallows. The truth tries to force its way out of his throat. He tried to make me forget, and I stopped him. And now I know everything. I know what I become. I know what you lose. I know it all, but he catches it. Not yet. He needs time. He needs to think. He needs to process 6 apocalyptic visions and a future that ends in a black mask. Nothing, he says. His voice sounds almost normal. Almost. He said goodbye. Told me to stay on the path. That's all. They are Jedi eyes, trained to see beneath surfaces, to detect deception. And Obi-Wan saw Anakin fall on Mortis. He saw the yellow eyes. He saw his brother become something else, however briefly. That memory sits between them now, unspoken but present. Anakin, Obi-Wan says carefully, if something happened, if you saw something, experienced something, you can tell me. We've been through too much together for secrets. The irony of this statement, coming from a man who doesn't know Anakin is secretly married, nearly breaks Anakin's composure. He wants to laugh, or scream. He settles for a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. I'm fine, Master. Really. Let's get out of here. Ahsoka appears at his other side. Her montrals are slightly lowered, her posture uncertain. She touches his arm gently. Master, are you okay? He flinches. He can't help it. When he looks at Ahsoka Tano, his Padawan, 15 years old, bright and brave and good, he sees someone else, someone older, white lightsabers instead of green, walking away from the Jedi Temple with her back straight and her head high, refusing to return even when offered. Alone, hunted, surviving in a galaxy where the Jedi are extinct and Darth Vader hunts the remnants. His fault. That future is his fault. I'm fine, Snips, he says. The nickname feels wrong in his mouth now. Too casual, too easy. How can he use her nickname when he knows what he'll take from her? Just tired. Mortis was a lot. She doesn't look convinced, but she's 15 and he's her master, and she's been trained to trust him. So she nods. They board the shuttle. The ship is exactly as they left it. The Mortis realm exists outside normal time, and from Captain Rex's perspective on the Star Destroyer in orbit, they were only out of contact for a moment. No time passed. The galaxy continued unchanged while they walked through a realm where past and future converge. Anakin takes a seat in the rear compartment, away from the others. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka settle near the front, their voices low as they discuss what they witnessed. Anakin hears fragments. The father, the son, the daughter's sacrifice, Ahsoka's resurrection. They're processing, making sense of the impossible. He cannot process, he can only endure. The shuttle enters hyperspace. The stars stretch into lines. Mortis collapses behind them, that realm of force gods and cosmic balance folding into nothing, as if it never existed. But it did exist, and Anakin carries proof. He closes his eyes, tries to breathe, and immediately the visions return. Not as memory, as experience. Visceral. Present. He is on Mustafar, and the heat is real, and Obi-Wan is crying, and his body is burning, and he is screaming. He opens his eyes, gasps. The shuttle's interior swims back into focus. Obi-Wan glances back, concerned. Anakin waves him off, tries to project calm. He tries again, closes his eyes. Slower this time. Prepared. But the moment his eyes close, he is in the Jedi Temple, and there are younglings, and they are looking at him with trust, and his lightsaber is igniting, and they are screaming. Eyes open, hands gripping the armrests, breathing hard. He tries a third time. This time he sees Padme, his wife, pregnant, holding her throat, dying, and his voice deeper mechanical filtered, saying, "You turned her against me." Eyes open, he is shaking. Obi-Wan is standing over him. "Anakin, what's wrong?" "Tired. You're sweating." "I said I'm fine." The sharpness in his voice surprises both of them. Obi-Wan's eyebrows rise. Ahsoka looks over from the front. Anakin forces himself to soften. "Sorry. I'm sorry. Mortis just got to me. I need some time, please." Obi-Wan studies him for one more long moment, then nods. "All right, but Anakin, we will talk. Soon." "I know." Anakin sits alone with 6 apocalyptic futures and no idea how to prevent them. But one thought rises above the horror, sharp and clear as a lightsaber blade. The men flying this shuttle have bombs in their heads, and I know exactly where. The clone revelation. The shuttle continues through hyperspace for another 3 hours. Anakin does not close his eyes again. He cannot afford to see the visions. Instead, he stares at the back of the pilot's helmet, white with blue 500 first markings, and thinks about what he knows. Inhibitor chips, organic control devices implanted in the brainstem of every clone trooper during embryonic development on Kamino. Sold to the Republic as behavioral modification to reduce aggressive tendencies inherited from Jango Fett's genetic template. The truth? They are kill switches. When activated by a specific command, Order 66, every clone in the galaxy will turn on their Jedi generals and execute them without hesitation or mercy. In the visions, Anakin saw it happen. He saw Commander Cody, who fought beside Obi-Wan for 3 years, aim his blaster at Obi-Wan's back on Utapau and fire. He saw clone troopers gunning down Jedi across the galaxy, Aayla Secura on Felucia, Ki-Adi Mundi on Magito, countless others whose names he doesn't know but whose deaths he saw. And Rex. Captain Rex, his most trusted soldier, his friend. Rex would have executed Ahsoka if the inhibitor chip protocol activated. The only reason Rex survived with his mind intact was because of something that happens years from now, something involving a clone trooper named Fives, who discovers the conspiracy and is murdered before he can expose it. But that's years away. The discovery, the proof, the tragedy, it all happens in a future Anakin has seen and can now prevent. Right now, in this moment, Rex doesn't know. None of the clones know. They are soldiers who believe they are free, unaware of the cage built into their biology. Anakin stands, moves toward the cockpit. The clone pilot glances back. "General Skywalker?" "Something wrong, sir. Just checking in." "How long until we reach the Resolute?" 20 minutes to figure out how to explain what he knows without revealing how he knows it. He studies the back of the pilot's neck, where the skull meets the spine. Beneath the skin, beneath the bone, there is a chip, waiting. "You ever get headaches?" Anakin asks. His tone is casual, conversational. The pilot laughs. "Only when Commander Tano convinces me to try that Tograton meditation technique, sir." "Why?" "Just curious. Ever feel, I don't know? Impulses you can't explain? Moments where you think one thing but feel pulled to do another?" The pilot's voice remains light, but there's a thread of confusion now. "Only the impulse to follow your orders into another droid factory, sir." Is everything all right? Anakin forces a smile the pilot can't see. Everything's fine. Just making conversation. He returns to the passenger compartment. Sits. Plans. He cannot tell Rex about the chips without explaining how he knows. And he cannot explain how he knows without revealing the visions. And he cannot reveal the visions without sounding insane, or worse, like he's been corrupted by the dark side. Obi-Wan already saw him fall on Mortis. If Anakin starts talking about apocalyptic futures and Sith conspiracies and control chips in clone brains, the Council will evaluate him. Medically, psychologically, they'll ground him, restrict him, watch him. And while they watch him, Palpatine, because that's who did this, that's who the Emperor in his visions is, Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine, is Darth Sidious, will continue his plan unopposed. No, he needs evidence first, physical proof. He needs to remove Rex's chip and show the Council what was done. Then he can explain how he knew to look. Then he can start dismantling the conspiracy. The shuttle drops out of hyperspace. Through the viewport, the Resolute appears, a Venator-class Star Destroyer, over a kilometer-long, bristling with turbolaser batteries. Home. Or as close to home as Anakin has while the war continues. They dock. The bay doors open. And Captain Rex is waiting. Rex stands at attention, his armor bearing the distinctive markings of the 501st Legion. Blue paint, custom designs the visual signature of Anakin's personal battalion. His helmet is under his arm, and his face wears the expression of professional concern that means something went wrong while they were gone. General Skywalker, Rex says as Anakin descends the ramp. Good to have you back, sir. Admiral Yularen is requesting an immediate debrief on Rex. Anakin cuts him off, grabs his arm. I need you to come with me, now. No questions. Rex's posture shifts slightly. Combat ready without being obvious about it. Sir, is there a threat? I'll explain. Just trust me, please. Rex has served under Anakin Skywalker for over 2 years. He has followed this Jedi into situations that violated every tactical doctrine, and somehow they survived every time. Trust is not a question. Lead the way, General. Anakin strides through the corridors of the Resolute with Rex beside him. Behind them, Ahsoka calls out, Master, wait. What about the debrief? He doesn't stop. Handle it, Snips. I need 20 minutes. Obi-Wan watches them go. His hand goes to his beard, a habitual gesture when he's processing something complex. He doesn't follow, not yet. But his eyes are thoughtful. The medical bay is empty except for a 1B surgical droid performing routine maintenance on medical equipment. Anakin seals the door behind them. Rex sets his helmet on a counter and looks at Anakin with increasing concern. General, you're starting to worry me. Anakin activates the medical scanner. I need you to trust me completely for the next 5 minutes. Can you do that? Always, sir. Good. Sit down. I'm having the droid run a deep cranial scan. Rex sits in the medical chair without hesitation, but his confusion is evident. Sir, I feel fine. What's this about? Anakin struggles with the explanation. He cannot tell Rex about the visions. Not yet, not without more foundation. He settles on a partial truth, the kind of truth that doesn't reveal the whole picture, but doesn't lie. On Mortis, Anakin says slowly, I encountered beings who exist outside time. They showed me things, possible futures, threats to the Republic that we don't know about yet. He gestures to the scanner. One of those threats involves the clones. All of you. Something was done to you that no one knows about. Rex's expression hardens. What kind of something? The 1B droid completes its scan. The holographic display activates, showing a cross-section of Rex's brain in 3-dimensional detail. And there it is. A small mass, organic in composition, embedded in the brain tissue near the stem. It appears almost natural, almost like it belongs there, distinguishable only because Anakin knows exactly what to look for and where. Rex stares at the hologram. What? What am I looking at? Anakin points to the mass. That. It's a chip, an inhibitor chip. It was implanted during your development on Kamino. Every clone has one. The color drains from Rex's face. Implanted? Why? Control. Anakin's voice is tight. It's a biological control mechanism. When activated by a specific command, it will override your free will. It will make you execute orders you would never follow otherwise. What kind of orders? Anakin meets his eyes, killing your Jedi commanders. The silence in the medical bay is total. Rex's hand moves to his head involuntarily, as if he can feel the chip now that he knows it's there. That's not possible. We would never. You wouldn't have a choice, Rex. That's the point. Your mind, your loyalty, your free will, all of it would be overridden. You would be a puppet carrying out someone else's will, and you wouldn't even know why. Rex's breathing quickens. His hands grip the armrests of the medical chair. Who did this? The Kaminoans. The Kaminoans built it, but someone ordered it. Someone high up in the Republic. Someone who's been planning this war from both sides. Who? Anakin hesitates. Not because he doesn't know. He knows exactly who, saw it clearly in his visions, Emperor Palpatine standing over a dead galaxy, but because saying it out loud will start a sequence of events he needs to carefully control. I don't know yet, he lies. But we're going to find out. First we remove this thing from your head. Then we figure out how many clones have them. Then we find who ordered it and we stop them. Rex stares at the hologram of his own brain, at the foreign object that has lived inside his skull for his entire existence. Remove it. Is that safe? The two 1B units are the best surgical droids in the Republic. It can be done. But I need your consent, Rex. This is your mind. Your choice. The surgery takes 47 minutes. The 1B droid is precise, its microsurgical tools extracting the chip with minimal trauma to surrounding tissue. Rex remains conscious. Local anesthetic, his eyes tracking the progress on the monitor overhead. Anakin watches every second, his hands clenched, praying he hasn't just made a catastrophic mistake based on visions that might be lies or manipulations or dark side corruption. The droid withdraws its tools. In its manipulator appendage sits a small, wet, organic chip, barely larger than a grain of rice, pulsing faintly with bioluminescent activity. Extraction complete, the droid reports. Minimal neurological damage. Patient should experience full recovery within 12 hours. His eyes widen. His hands grip the armrests hard enough to crack the durasteel slightly. Force, he whispers. I can feel it. Something that was always there just stopped. What do you mean? I don't know how to explain it, sir. Like a frequency I never knew was playing. Like white noise that became normal, and now it's just gone. He touches his head gently. I feel clearer. More. Myself. Anakin picks up the chip from the droid's tray. It's heavier than it looks. Warm, still functioning, its biological components trying to maintain connection with a host that no longer exists. This tiny thing was going to turn Rex into a murderer. This tiny thing, replicated millions of times across the Grand Army of the Republic, is the mechanism for genocide. He closes his fist. The chip crunches. Bioluminescence flickers and dies. He opens his hand and lets the fragments fall to the floor. Rex stands slowly, testing his balance. The local anesthetic hasn't worn off completely, but he's functional. He looks at Anakin with an expression that contains gratitude, fury, and betrayal, all at once. Who did this to us? I don't know all the details yet, Anakin says. Another partial lie. But whoever it is, they're at the highest levels of power. They're using the clones as weapons against the Jedi. The entire war might be a setup. His hands curl into fists. Sir, we need to tell the other clones. All of them. The 501st, the 212th, every battalion in the Grand Army. No. Anakin's voice is sharp. Not yet. Sir, if we move too fast, whoever planted these chips will know we found them. They'll activate the kill order before we can remove them all. We need to be surgical about this. One trooper at a time. Start with the 501st. We'll frame it as routine neural health screenings. The troops trust you, Rex. They'll cooperate if you tell them to. Rex processes this. His tactical mind, trained for impossible situations, accepts the logic even as his emotional core screams to warn his brothers immediately. How many of us are there, sir? Millions. Then we'd better work fast. Rex salutes. Not the standard military salute. Something personal. Hand over heart. Sir, I don't know if you realize what you just gave me. My mind. My choice. My freedom. His voice cracks slightly. I won't forget that. Anakin puts his hand on Rex's shoulder. You're not a weapon, Rex. You never were. You're a man, and you deserve to know what was done to you. Rex nods, recovers his composure. What's our next move? Neural health screenings for the 501st, starting tomorrow. We'll go trooper by trooper. Meanwhile, I need to talk to Obi-Wan. About the chips. About everything. The confession. Ship night. On the Resolute. The corridors are dim, lit only by emergency strips. The skeleton crew maintaining night watch protocols. Most of the battalion is off shift, sleeping in the barracks or their assigned quarters. Anakin stands outside Obi-Wan's door for 90 seconds before he can make himself knock. He knows what's on the other side of this door, the conversation he's been avoiding for years, the truth about Padme, the secret marriage, the attachment that violates everything the Jedi Code teaches. In the visions, keeping that secret is part of what destroyed him. Palpatine used it, twisted it, made it the hook that pulled him into darkness. He cannot let that happen again, which means no more secrets, no more lies. He knocks. "Come in," Obi-Wan's voice calls. Anakin enters. Obi-Wan's quarters are sparse, a meditation mat, a small desk with data pads, a sleeping platform. Obi-Wan sits on the mat in simple robes, clearly having been meditating before Anakin interrupted. He gestures to a spot across from him. "Sit." Anakin sits, cross-legged, uncomfortable. His body wants to pace, to move, to burn off the nervous energy that has been building since Mortis. But he forces himself to stillness. Obi-Wan pours tea. The gesture is so mundane, so domestic, so perfectly Obi-Wan that it nearly breaks Anakin's composure. This is the man he burns alive on, Mustafar. This is the man who will cry over his smoking body and call him brother. And right now he's pouring tea. "You wanted to talk," Obi-Wan says. "Not a question. I need to tell you something. Several things. And I need you to not interrupt until I'm finished." Obi-Wan's expression doesn't change, but something in his eyes sharpens. "All right. I'm married to Padme, Senator Amidala. We married in secret after the Battle of Geonosis, 3 years ago. No one knows. We've been hiding it because of the Code's prohibition on attachment." He braces for the explosion, the disappointment, the lecture about Jedi principles and emotional control, and the dangers of attachment. It doesn't come. Obi-Wan sips his tea, sets down the cup. "I know." Anakin stares. "You what? You knew? And you never said anything." "I chose not to see. Officially." Obi-Wan's voice is gentle. "Because I loved Duchess Satine once. I understand what it costs to give that up for the Order. I understand what it means to choose duty over heart. And I saw how happy she made you. So I made the choice to turn a blind eye." Anakin feels something crack inside his chest. All the years of sneaking around, all the fear of discovery, all the weight of deception. And Obi-Wan knew, and chose silence, out of love. "This makes what comes next harder." "There's more," Anakin says. His voice is rough. "On Mortis, the father tried to erase my memory. He pressed his finger to my forehead and tried to make me forget what I'd seen. But I stopped him. I used the Force to resist, and I kept the memories." Obi-Wan goes very still. "What memories?" "The son took me to the well of the dark side. He showed me my future, showed me what I become if I stay on the path I'm on." Anakin's hands tightened around the teacup. "I saw myself kill Jedi younglings, Master. Children. I saw myself choke Padme to death while she's pregnant. I saw myself duel you on Mustafar, a volcanic planet, and lose everything. My body burned and mutilated. I saw myself in a black suit, a breathing mask, serving a Sith Emperor for decades." The teacup in Obi-Wan's hand stops halfway to his lips. He sets it down very carefully. His face is the face of a Jedi Master processing information that rewrites everything he thought he knew. "A Sith Emperor," he says quietly. "Yes." "Who?" Anakin looks him in the eye. "Chancellor Palpatine." The silence in the room is absolute. Obi-Wan stands, paces to the window, looking out at the star field beyond the ship, his hands clasped behind his back. His breathing is controlled, measured, the breathing of someone working through a problem of galactic scale. "Palpatine," he murmurs. "Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord we've been hunting for 3 years. Who commissioned the clone army through intermediaries, who implanted inhibitor chips in every clone trooper's brain, chips designed to turn them into Jedi killers on command." Obi-Wan turns. "Is that what you were doing with Rex?" "I removed his chip, proved they exist. I'm starting screenings for the 501st tomorrow." Obi-Wan returns to the meditation mat, sits. His face is the face of a man whose understanding of the galaxy has just been comprehensively dismantled. How long has he been planning this? Since before I was born. Maybe longer. The Sith have been patient. Playing the long game. Palpatine has been grooming me since Tatooine, Master. Every private meeting, every word of encouragement, every time he told me I was special, it was all set up. In the future I saw he turns me into his apprentice. Darth Vader. That's the name I take when I fall. Darth Vader, Obi-Wan repeats. The name sounds wrong in his mouth. Foreign. And you saw yourself take this name willingly? I saw myself do terrible things in service to him. I saw Padme die by my hand. I saw you broken and alone. I saw the Jedi extinct. I saw the galaxy under Imperial rule, and I was the Emperor's right hand. His weapon, his monster. Obi-Wan is quiet for a long time. When he speaks, his voice is thoughtful rather than condemning. On Mortis, I saw you fall. Briefly. Your eyes went yellow. You attacked me. The sun had corrupted you. I remember. The Father brought you back. He claimed the memory wipe was necessary for balance. That knowing your dark future would ensure it happened. Maybe he was right. Maybe knowing what I become will push me toward becoming it. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Anakin's voice is raw. But Master, I can't forget. I can't close my eyes without seeing it. The younglings. Padme, your face on Mustafar. I'm carrying 6 apocalyptic visions, and they won't fade, and I don't know if having them in my head makes me more dangerous or less. What do you want to do? Remove every chip from every clone. Expose Palpatine before he can execute his plan. Save Padme. Save you. Save the younglings. Prove that knowing the monster doesn't mean becoming the monster. Obi-Wan studies him. Really studies him, looking beneath the surface, past the words into the Force presence of the young man he trained from age 9. What he sees there is not darkness, not corruption. Fear, yes, profound existential fear, but beneath the fear is determination, will, the choice to fight. The Jedi Council will want to hear this, Obi-Wan says finally. The chips, the visions, Palpatine, they need to know. But I'm scared they'll ground me, evaluate me, waste time I don't have while Palpatine consolidates power. Then we don't wait for them. Obi-Wan's voice is firm. We tell the Council, we present the evidence. But we don't wait for consensus. You and I have fought beside each other for over 2 years, Anakin. I watched you on Mortis. I saw what you could become, and I see what you're choosing now. He reaches across and puts his hand on Anakin's shoulder. I believe you, and I'm with you. You believe me? I believe you saw something real. I believe the chips are real. Rex's extraction proves that. I believe Palpatine is dangerous. I felt uneasy about his accumulation of power for years. Whether the visions are literally true or symbolically true, doesn't matter. The threat is real, and we face it together. For the first time since Mortis, Anakin is not alone with the weight. Someone else knows. Someone else carries it with him. The relief is so profound he nearly breaks. Thank you, he whispers. You're my brother, Anakin. In every way that matters. I'm not letting you fall. Not to Palpatine. Not to fear. Not to anything. Obi-Wan squeezes his shoulder. Now tell me your plan. They sit together until ship dawn. 2 Jedi planning the impossible. By the time Anakin leaves Obi-Wan's quarters, they have the outline of a strategy. First, prove the conspiracy through the chips. Second, capture Count Dooku alive and force his testimony. Third, confront Palpatine with evidence and overwhelming force. Every step terrifies Anakin. But now, he's not walking alone. The surgical campaign. Ship dawn on the Resolute arrives with the subtle shift from night watch to day watch. Crew rotations changing, the hum of the Star Destroyer intensifying as thousands of personnel begin their duties. Anakin hasn't slept. He spent the hours after leaving Obi-Wan's quarters in the meditation chamber. Not meditating. He still cannot close his eyes without the visions returning. But planning. Every detail. Every contingency. Rex meets him in the medical bay at 0600 hours. The captain's face shows the strain of his own sleepless night. But his eyes are clear. Clearer than they've ever been. Freed from the white noise he never knew was there. I've selected the first group, Rex says, pulling up a datapad with a roster. 20 troopers from the 501st. Men I trust completely. I told them, it's a new neural health protocol, screening for combat trauma and stress markers. They didn't question it. Good. Anakin reviews the names. Jesse, Kix, Hardcase, Fives. Echo, no, Echo is gone, lost at the Citadel. The absence hits Anakin harder than he expected. In the future he saw, Echo survived, became something else. But that's years away. Right now, Echo is dead, and his name on old rosters is a ghost. Sir, Rex notices the pause. Nothing. Let's begin. The process they establish over the next 3 days becomes routine through repetition. Each trooper enters the medical bay individually. The 1B droid performs what appears to be a standard deep tissue cranial scan for combat-related stress damage. The scan reveals the chip. Anakin explains what it is: control mechanism, override protocol, threat to free will. Every trooper reacts with the same sequence: disbelief, horror, fury. Then the question that Anakin cannot yet fully answer: who did this to us? Someone who wants to use you as weapons against the Jedi, Anakin tells them. Someone at the highest levels of the Republic. We're going to find out who and stop them. But first, we need to free you. All of you. Every single trooper consents to removal. By the end of day 3, 53 members of the 501st are chip-free. The change in them is subtle, but present. A clarity in their eyes, a looseness in their shoulders, as if a tension they didn't know they carried has finally released. They don't talk about it much, but Anakin sees it, Rex sees it, and the troopers themselves feel it, even if they can't articulate what's different. On day 4, Ahsoka corners Anakin in the hangar bay. Master. Her tone is not casual. Her arms are crossed. Her montrals are angled in the way they angle when she's determined to get answers. What's going on with the 501st? Anakin is inspecting a starfighter's S-foils, not because they need inspection, but because his hands need something to do. What do you mean? Don't. She steps in front of him, forcing eye contact. You've been pulling troopers out of rotation for medical screenings for 3 days. Rex is acting weird. The men are acting weird. And you're acting weird. You've been acting weird since Mortis. Anakin sets down his tools. He knew this conversation was coming. Ahsoka is too observant, too connected to him through their training bond, too sharp to miss the patterns. He made a choice with Obi-Wan to end the secrets. That choice extends to Ahsoka. Come with me, he says. They walk to an empty briefing room. Anakin seals the door and activates a privacy field, standard security protocol for classified discussions. But Ahsoka's unease increases. He can feel it through their bond, the worry mixing with curiosity. Snips, he says. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound impossible, but I need you to hear me out. You're scaring me, Master. I'm sorry. He takes a breath. The clones, all of them, the entire Grand Army, were implanted with control chips during their development on Kamino. Biological devices designed to override their free will and turn them into weapons against us. Against the Jedi. Ahsoka's face cycles through the same sequence every trooper showed. Disbelief, then horror. Are you sure? I've removed 53 chips from 53 troopers. The 1B surgical droid has documented every extraction. The chips are real, Ahsoka, and they're in every clone. Who did this? Someone high up in the Republic. Someone who's been planning this war from both sides. I don't have all the details yet, but Master Kenobi and I are investigating. Ahsoka processes this with the tactical mind of a soldier who has fought beside clone troopers for years. Rex? Does he know? Is he okay? He's free. They all are, once the chips come out. But there are millions of clones, Ahsoka. We're working as fast as we can. But we need help. Her jaw sets. What do you need me to do? Not just the lightsaber forms, not just the Force techniques. The immediate, unflinching willingness to act when faced with injustice. She doesn't waste time on doubt or bureaucracy. She asks, what do you need? I need you to help coordinate the screenings, Anakin says. The troopers trust you. They'll cooperate if you're involved. We're starting with the 501st, but eventually we'll need to expand to other battalions. The 212th, the Wolf Pack, everyone. And the Council? Do they know? Master Kenobi knows. We're bringing this to the full Council soon, but we need more evidence first. If we move too fast, whoever planted these chips will know we found them. They might activate the kill order before we can remove them all. Ahsoka nods. I'm in. Whatever you need. She pauses. Master, there's something else. You've been different since Mortis. Not just this, you. The way you move. The way you think. What happened there? Anakin considers how much to tell her. In his visions, Ahsoka survives Order 66 and walks away from the Jedi. She becomes something independent. Something strong, something that doesn't need his protection. She deserves the truth. But the full truth, the visions of his fall, the transformation into Vader, the decades of atrocity, will burden her with knowledge she cannot use. The beings on Mortis showed me possible futures, he says. Showed me what could happen if I'm not careful. If I let fear control me, it was difficult to see, but it gave me clarity. I know what I need to prevent now. The chips. The chips are part of it. There's more, but one thing at a time. She studies him with those sharp, intelligent eyes. She knows he's holding back, but she also knows him well enough to recognize when pushing will not yield answers. Okay, but Master, whatever you saw, you're not alone with it. You know that, right? The simplicity of the statement nearly undoes him. He manages a smile. I know, Snips. Thank you. The Jedi Temple on Coruscant rises against the city planet's skyline. 5 spires reaching towards sky that never quite achieves the blue of natural worlds. Anakin and Obi-Wan walk its corridors toward the council chamber, with the weight of what they carry making every step feel heavier than it should. 112 chips removed from the 501st. 112 pieces of physical evidence. Holo recordings of the extractions. Medical analysis from 3 different 1B units confirming the chip's function. Testimony from Rex and a dozen other freed clones. And Anakin's testimony about the visions, which he has spent 6 days preparing to deliver in a way that sounds credible rather than insane. They requested an emergency session, with limited attendance. Yoda, Mace Windu, Plo Koon, 3 council members. 3 who can be trusted with information this explosive. 3 who, in the future Anakin saw, will either die during Order 66 or survive it alone and broken. The council chamber is empty except for the 3 masters. Yoda sits in his small chair, his eyes closed but his presence in the Force alert and focused. Mace Windu stands by the window, his hands clasped behind his back, his expression already skeptical. He knows Anakin requested this meeting, and Mace Windu's relationship with Anakin is complicated at best. Plo Koon sits with the calm patience that defines him, his antiox mask giving his breathing a mechanical quality that reminds Anakin of his visions and makes him flinch. Master Skywalker? Master Kenobi? Mace's voice is formal. You requested this emergency session. The floor is yours. He's better at this. The political navigation, the careful presentation of information, the balancing of evidence and testimony. Masters, we have discovered a conspiracy within the Republic military, specifically within the Grand Army itself. He activates the holo projector. An image appears, a 3-dimensional scan of a clone trooper's brain, the inhibitor chip highlighted in red. This is a control device, Obi-Wan continues, implanted in the brainstem of every clone trooper during embryonic development on Kamino. We have extracted and analyzed 112 such devices from the 501st Legion over the past week. Medical analysis confirms they are designed to override the host's neural processes and enforce compliance with specific commands. Plo Koon leans forward. Override their free will? That's a serious accusation, Master Kenobi. It's a documented fact, Master Plo. Obi-Wan cycles through images, the surgical extractions, the chips themselves in specimen containers, before and after neural scans showing the difference in brain activity patterns once the chips are removed. Every clone we've tested has the same device. The Kaminoans implanted them, though whether they understood the true purpose remains unclear. Mace's eyes narrow. What is the true purpose? Anakin speaks for the first time. To turn the clones into weapons against the Jedi. On command. Yoda opens his eyes. Strong words these are, young Skywalker. Evidence of chips, we see. Evidence of their purpose, less clear. The purpose is clear if you know what to look for, Anakin says. He pulls up another hologram, the chip's internal structure, analyzed at the molecular level. This region here, it's a receiver. Biological, but designed to respond to a specific frequency. A command transmission. When that transmission is received, the chip activates and forces the host to execute a pre-programmed directive. What directive? Mace asks. Anakin meets his eyes. Order 66. Execute all Jedi officers. Mace goes very still. Plo Koon's breathing through his mask becomes audible in the quiet. Yoda's ears lower slightly. How do you know this? Mace's voice is controlled, but barely. This is the moment. The pivot point. Anakin has rehearsed this explanation for 6 days, trying to find the balance between truth and credibility. He cannot tell them he lived through Order 66 as Darth Vader, watched it happen, participated in it. But he can tell them about the visions. On Mortis, Anakin says, the son took me to a place called the Well of the Dark Side. He forced visions of possible futures into my mind, showed me what could happen if certain paths are followed. I saw Order 66, I saw the clones turn on their Jedi commanders across the galaxy and execute them. I saw the mechanism, the chips activating, the override protocol engaging. The Father tried to erase my memory of these visions, but I resisted. I kept them, and now I'm using what I saw to prevent it. Visions from the dark side, he says carefully, are notoriously unreliable. They show possible futures, not certain ones, and they can be manipulated. The Son was a dark side entity. How do you know he wasn't simply corrupting you? Because I found the chips exactly where the visions said they would be, Anakin counters. Because every detail I've verified has been accurate. The location, the structure, the function, all of it matches. The visions weren't lies. They were warnings. Yoda speaks, his voice thoughtful rather than dismissive. Other visions did you see, beyond the chips? Anakin hesitates. He did not plan to reveal the full scope, the younglings Padme, Mustafar, Vader. But Yoda is asking directly, and lying to Yoda is both difficult and dangerous. Yes, I saw the fall of the Republic, the Jedi Order destroyed, a Sith Lord ruling the galaxy, and I saw myself fall to the dark side in service to that Lord. The chamber's atmosphere shifts. Mace's hand moves closer to his lightsaber, not threatening, but ready. Plo Koon's posture tightens. Even Yoda, who has seen centuries of Jedi face darkness and emerge or fail, regards Anakin with increased wariness. You saw yourself fall, Mace says slowly. And you're telling us this why? To warn us? Or because the fall has already begun? To warn you, to ask for help, to prove that knowing the darkness doesn't mean surrendering to it. Anakin's voice is steady, despite the fear coursing through him. In the visions, I fell because I was isolated, because I kept secrets, because I tried to prevent loss through control and power instead of through trust and community. I'm not making those mistakes again. I'm telling you everything. The chips, the Sith Lord, the threat to the Republic, all of it. Because I will not become what I saw. Obi-Wan steps beside Anakin, a physical manifestation of support. Masters, I watched Anakin fall briefly on Mortis when the sun corrupted him. I saw what he could become, and I've watched him for the past 7 days use that knowledge to save clone troopers from slavery. He's not falling, he's fighting. Plo Koon speaks, his voice gentle despite the mask's distortion. Anakin, you mentioned a Sith Lord ruling the galaxy. Did the visions show you who? Anakin takes a breath. Chancellor Palpatine. He's Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord we've been hunting for 3 years. He orchestrated this war from both sides. He commissioned the clone army. He implanted the chips. And in the future, I saw, he uses Order 66 to destroy the Jedi and crown himself Emperor. The silence is absolute. Then Mace Windu does something Anakin does not expect. He laughs. Short, bitter, a sound of realization rather than humor. Of course it's him. The emergency powers, the military control, the way he's positioned himself at the center of every critical decision. How did we not see it? Suspected you did. I suspected the war was being manipulated, Mace says. I suspected there were layers to this conflict we weren't seeing. But the Chancellor himself, He turns to look at Anakin. You're certain? I saw him, saw his face clearly, yellow Sith eyes, calling himself Emperor, and I saw myself at his side, serving him. Darth Vader, that's the name I take when I fall. I'm certain, Master Windu, Palpatine is the enemy. Yoda stands slowly, his walking stick supporting his small frame. He moves to the window and looks out over Coruscant, the Senate building visible in the distance, where Palpatine sits in his office, playing the role of concerned Chancellor. Clouded, the future is. Always in motion, but these visions, specific they are, detailed, and the chips, proof they are, of conspiracy, of betrayal. What do we do? Plo Koon asks. We investigate, Mace says. Carefully. Palpatine has spent decades building his power base. If we move against him without ironclad proof, we'll be the traitors. We need more than visions and chips. We need testimony from someone in his inner circle. Count Dooku, Obi-Wan says. Anakin nods. Dooku is Palpatine's apprentice. Darth Tyrannus. In the visions I saw their connection. If we capture Dooku alive and force his testimony, we'll have the evidence we need. Capturing Dooku alive, Mace says dryly, is something we've been attempting for 3 years without success. I know how to do it, Anakin says. The visions showed me his tactics, his patterns, his weaknesses. I can set a trap that he'll walk into, and when we have him, Anakin's voice hardens. He'll talk. One way or another. Dangerous this path is. Against the Supreme Chancellor move, we would be. Against the Republic's leader. If wrong we are. We're not wrong, Anakin interrupts. Master Yoda, I have seen the future where we don't act, where we wait for more evidence and deliberate and follow procedure. That future ends with you fighting Sidious in the Senate chamber and losing. It ends with every Jedi in the galaxy dead. It ends with darkness. If we don't act now, we've already lost. Yoda studies him for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nods. Act we shall, but carefully, wisely. The chips, remove them we continue. From all clones if possible. Dooku, capture him we attempt. And Palpatine, his ancient eyes are troubled. Watch him, we will, but confront him only when evidence undeniable we have. Agreed? Mace and Plo Koon nod. Obi-Wan nods. Anakin nods. Then a plan we must make, Yoda says, for Count Dooku's capture. Skywalker, your knowledge of his tactics. Share it, you will. The trap for Dooku. The strategy session lasts 4 hours. Anakin provides details he should not know. Dooku's preferred ship configurations, his tactical responses to specific scenarios, his tendency to personally oversee operations involving high-value intelligence assets. Mace challenges every assertion. How do you know this? Becomes a refrain, and Anakin's answer is always the same. The visions showed me. Visions are unreliable, symbolic, subject to interpretation. But every detail Anakin provides is specific, actionable, and when they cross-reference his intelligence with known separatist movements and intercepts, it aligns too perfectly to be coincidence. There's a communications relay station in the Outer Rim, Anakin says, pointing to a star chart. Junction point for encrypted separatist transmissions. Dooku values it because it connects to his direct channels with Sidious. If we leak intelligence suggesting the station is vulnerable, Dooku will come personally to secure it. He won't trust anyone else with something that sensitive. How do you know he won't just send Grievous? Plo Koon asks. Because Grievous is a military asset. Useful for battlefield operations, less useful for intelligence security. Dooku knows Grievous lacks subtlety. For something this important, Dooku will go himself. Mace considers. If we leak the intelligence, we need it to be believable. It has to come from a source Dooku trusts. We have one, Obi-Wan says. Asajj Ventress. She betrayed Dooku months ago. He tried to have her killed. Exactly. Which means any intelligence coming from her would be seen as revenge-motivated. Credible because it's personal. Obi-Wan pulls up a file. We've been tracking Ventress since the Night Sisters incident. She's currently operating in the Mid-Rim, taking mercenary work. If we approach her with the right offer, immunity, protection, a chance to hurt Dooku, she might cooperate. That's a dangerous gamble, Mace says. Ventress is unstable, a dark side assassin. She could betray us just as easily as she betrayed Dooku. And right now we need that hatred. Anakin processes this. In his visions, Ventress eventually becomes something like an ally. Not a Jedi, but not an enemy. She helps Ahsoka during a crisis. She finds something like redemption before her death. The timeline is murky, but the trajectory is there. If she can be recruited now, I'll go, Anakin says. I'll approach Ventress and make the offer. Alone? Mace's skepticism is evident. Ventress nearly killed you multiple times during the war, which means she respects my combat ability. She'll listen to me, and I can offer her something she wants. Revenge against Dooku and Sidious both. If she cooperates, she gets to watch them fall. Yoda considers. Risky this is, but options we have few. Skywalker, find Ventress you will. Bring her in if possible, but careful be. The dark side, strong in her it is. I will be. The plan crystallizes over the next hour. Anakin will locate Ventress and recruit her cooperation. She will leak intelligence to Dooku through intermediaries, suggesting the relay station is vulnerable and contains data worth securing personally. Anakin and a small Jedi strike team will wait in ambush. When Dooku arrives, they capture him alive using overwhelming force and surprise. One thing, Anakin says as the meeting concludes, when we capture Dooku, I need to be there when he's interrogated. The visions gave me insight into his relationship with Sidious. I'll know if he's lying. Mace regards him coolly. You want to interrogate a Sith Lord based on visions that show you falling to the dark side. You see the problem. I see the necessity. Dooku will resist conventional interrogation. He's been trained to withstand torture, force persuasion, truth serums. But I know things about his relationship with Sidious that he doesn't know I know. I can use that knowledge to break him. By using the dark side, Mace's voice is sharp. By using information, strategy, psychology. Not the dark side, Master Windu. Intelligence. Anakin holds his gaze. I know you don't trust me. I know the visions make me suspect, but I am not falling. I am fighting, and I need you to let me fight. Mace and Yoda exchange looks. Some silent communication passes between them. Then Mace nods, reluctant. You'll have your chance, but Obi-Wan will be present during the interrogation. And if I see any sign that you're drawing on darkness, I'm pulling you out. Clear? Clear. Finding Ventress, the Mid-Rim, a nameless trading station on a nameless world, the kind of place where mercenaries, smugglers, and bounty hunters conduct business away from Republic oversight. Anakin arrives alone in a civilian transport. No Jedi robes, no obvious weapons, just a hooded traveler looking for work or trouble, depending on who's asking. He finds Ventress in a cantina that smells of cheap alcohol and expensive secrets. She sits alone in a corner booth, twin curved lightsabers on the table in front of her, daring anyone to approach. Her bald head and pale skin are distinctive even in low light. Her eyes, when they find Anakin walking toward her, narrow with recognition and something like anticipation. Skywalker. Her voice is a purr with edges. Have you come to die quietly, or shall we make a scene? Anakin sits across from her without invitation. I came to offer you a job. She laughs. The Jedi are hiring assassins now? How delightfully hypocritical. Not an assassination. Revenge. Against Count Dooku. I'm listening. You know he tried to kill you. On Sidious's orders. Threw you away like garbage after years of service. You want payback. I can give it to you. In exchange for what? And your cooperation in a trap. We're going after Dooku. Going to capture him alive. Interrogate him. Destroy his operation and everything he's built. When we're done, he'll wish you'd killed him on Dathomir. Anakin leans forward. I can promise you one thing, Ventress. When Dooku falls, you'll be there to see it. And if there's any mercy in how he goes, you'll be the one who decides whether he deserves it. Ventress studies him. Why would I trust you? You're a Jedi. The Order has tried to kill me repeatedly. Because I'm offering you something better than death. I'm offering you the satisfaction of watching the man who betrayed you beg. Of seeing Dooku broken and powerless. Of knowing you were the reason it happened. That's worth more than killing me, isn't it? She considers. The cantina's ambient noise. Conversations, music, the clink of glasses fills the silence between them. Anakin can feel the dark side radiating from her. But beneath it, something else. Pain. Betrayal. The wound Dooku left when he discarded her. Tell me your plan, she says finally. Anakin explains. The relay station, the leaked intelligence, the ambush. Ventress's role is simple. Use her remaining contacts in the Separatist network to plant information suggesting the relay station is vulnerable and contains encrypted data linking Dooku to Sidious. The intelligence needs to be specific enough to be valuable, vague enough to require personal verification. Dooku will come himself, Anakin says. He can't risk anyone else seeing evidence of his connection to the Sith Master. When he arrives, we take him. And then he talks, confirms Sidious's identity, provides testimony about the grand plan, and the Jedi use that testimony to bring down the entire conspiracy. Ventress's lips curve into something that might be a smile if it carried any warmth. You're going after Sidious himself, the Sith Master. Do you have any idea what you're facing? I know exactly what I'm facing. That's why I need Dooku's testimony. Without proof, Sidious remains untouchable. Besides the satisfaction of watching Dooku suffer, immunity, protection, a chance to disappear somewhere the Sith can't reach you. You hate what you've become, Ventress. I can see it. This is your chance to do something that isn't murder or revenge, something that might actually matter. She studies him for a long moment. You've changed, Skywalker. You're not the reckless boy I've fought before. Something happened to you. I saw the future. It was bad enough that I decided to change it. And you think using me will change it? I think having you on our side instead of Dooku's gives us an advantage we wouldn't have otherwise. You know his operations. his contacts, his vulnerabilities. That knowledge is valuable. And you want to use it against him. So let's use it. The red blade casts harsh shadows across her face. Anakin's hand moves to his own weapon, hidden under his cloak. But he doesn't draw. They sit in tense silence, the cantina's patrons studiously ignoring them. Then Ventress deactivates the blade. I'll do it, but not for your promises or your protection. I'll do it because I want to see Dooku's face when he realizes he's lost. That's payment enough. Then we have a deal. They spend the next hour coordinating details. Ventress provides names of separatist intelligence officers who still trust her, trust being a relative term in espionage networks. She'll feed them the information about the relay station through intermediaries, making it look like she's selling intelligence to finance her exile. Dooku will hear about it within 48 hours. One thing, Ventress says as Anakin prepares to leave. If this is a trap for me, if you're using this to capture or kill me, I will make you regret it in ways you cannot imagine. It's not a trap. I need Dooku. You're the best way to get him. Simple as that. Nothing with you is ever simple, Skywalker, but I suppose that's part of your charm. She waves him away. Go. Play hero. I have intelligence to leak. Anakin leaves the cantina and returns to his ship. As he lifts off from the station, he allows himself one moment of relief. Ventress is a dangerous ally, unpredictable and violent. But she's motivated by something stronger than credits or ideology. The need to see her betrayer suffer. That motivation is reliable. The next phase can begin. The relay station. 5 days later, the communications relay station sits on an unremarkable moon, in an unremarkable system valuable only for its position at the intersection of several major hyperspace routes. The station itself is automated, minimal crew, mostly droids, its primary function to receive and relay encrypted transmissions across separatist space. Anakin arrives with a strike team: Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Plo Koon. 4 Jedi Masters, though Anakin still carries the rank of Knight. It feels wrong to Anakin. In his visions, he faces Dooku alone in Palpatine's office, overwhelms him with rage and Gemso aggression, kills him on Sidious's orders. Here, the goal is capture, control, extraction of testimony. A completely different operation requiring different tactics. They infiltrate the station 12 hours before Dooku's expected arrival, hiding in service tunnels and maintenance ducts, suppressing their force presences to near invisibility. Waiting. Tell me again how you know he'll come, Mace says quietly. They're positioned in a ventilation shaft overlooking the station's main control room. The visions showed me Dooku's psychology, Anakin says. He serves Sidious, but he also fears being replaced. Any evidence of direct communication between himself and the Sith Master is a vulnerability. He can't let that evidence exist where anyone else might find it. He has to come personally. And if you're wrong, then we've spent a day in uncomfortable positions for nothing. But I'm not wrong. Obi-Wan, positioned at Anakin's other side, murmurs, "Your confidence is either reassuring or disturbing. I haven't decided which." They wait. Hours pass. Anakin cannot sleep, hasn't truly slept since Mortis, the visions preventing any rest deeper than meditation. He watches the control room through the grating and thinks about what comes next. Capturing Dooku is step 1. Breaking him is step 2. Using his testimony to expose Sidious is step 3. Every step terrifies him because every step is a deviation from the visions, and he doesn't know if deviating prevents the dark future or accelerates it. Proximity alarms activate. A ship drops out of hyperspace. Dooku's personal solar sailor, distinctive in its design, elegant and archaic. The ship docks with the station's main hangar. He's here. Plo Koon reports from his position near the hangar entrance. No visible escorts. Just him and 2 Magna Guards. He thinks he's untouchable. He's wrong, Anakin says. They watch through various vantage points as Count Dooku enters the station. He moves with aristocratic confidence, his curved lightsaber visible at his belt, his cape sweeping behind him. The Magna Guards flank him, their electro-staffs crackling with energy. Dooku proceeds directly to the control room, the location Ventress's intelligence specified would contain the sensitive data. He's 10 meters from the control room entrance when Anakin drops from the ventilation shaft. The landing is silent, force-cushioned, directly in Dooku's path. Anakin's blue blade ignites. Behind Dooku, Mace Windu emerges from concealment, purple blade ready. To the left, Obi-Wan appears from a service corridor. To the right, Plo Koon steps from the shadows. Dooku stops. His expression cycles through surprise, calculation, and something that might be respect. Skywalker, Master Windu, Kenobi, Master Plo, this is quite the reception. Count Dooku, Mace says formally, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic, war crimes, and conspiracy to commit genocide. Dooku's lips curve into a thin smile. Genocide? That's a strong accusation, Master Windu. I assume you have evidence? We do, Anakin says. The inhibitor chips. Order 66. The grand plan. We know everything, Dooku. Your master is finished. The only question is whether you go down with him or testify against him. The smile vanishes. Dooku's hand moves to his lightsaber hilt. You've been busy. But knowing about the plan and stopping it are very different things. Surrender, Obi-Wan says. You're outnumbered 4-1. The Magna Guards won't save you. Dooku glances at his guards, makes a slight gesture. The Magna Guards activate their staffs and move forward. I think not. The fight is brief. Plo Koon and Obi-Wan engage the Magna Guards, their lightsabers cutting through the droid's defenses with practiced efficiency. Mace and Anakin focus on Dooku, and this is where Anakin's knowledge of the future becomes most dangerous, to himself and to his opponent. He knows Dooku's fighting style intimately, knows Makashi's elegant economy of motion, knows how Dooku's curved lightsaber hilt creates leverage advantages, knows the specific timing of his defensive parries. In the visions, Anakin defeated Dooku through overwhelming aggression fueled by dark-side rage. Here, he must defeat Dooku through skill alone. Dooku opens with a probing attack, quick thrusts testing Anakin's defense. Anakin parries with Gemso, his blade meeting Dooku's with controlled force. Mace flanks from the opposite side, his Vapad form channeling whatever darkness exists in the space back into kinetic energy. Between the two of them, Dooku is pressed but not overwhelmed. You've improved, Skywalker, Dooku says. Blade work never stopping. More controlled, less reckless. What changed? He sees the opening he needs. A slight overextension in Dooku's right wrist, a legacy of age and old injuries. In the visions, Anakin exploited that weakness by cutting off both hands. Here, he needs a different approach. He feints high. Dooku parries. Anakin drops low and sweeps Dooku's legs with a force push, throwing the count off balance. Before Dooku can recover, Mace's blade comes in from above. Dooku is forced to catch it awkwardly, his defensive position compromised. Anakin doesn't give him space to reset. He presses forward with a Gemso power sequence, overhead strike, diagonal slash, thrust driving Dooku backward. Behind Dooku, Obi-Wan has finished with his Magna Guard and positions himself to cut off retreat. Dooku realizes he's trapped. He attempts one final gambit. Force lightning discharged at Anakin with both hands. Anakin catches it on his blade, the energy crackling around him, painful but manageable. Mace moves in from the blind spot and brings his lightsaber to Dooku's throat. It's over, Mace says. Dooku deactivates the lightning. His aristocratic composure finally cracks. He looks at Anakin with something between fury and fascination. The visions. You're the one who knows. Sidious mentioned anomalies in the Force, temporal disturbances. That's you. Anakin doesn't confirm or deny. Drop your weapon. Dooku's lightsaber falls to the floor. Plo Koon retrieves it, then secures Dooku's hands with force suppression cuffs. The Count is effectively powerless. You're making a terrible mistake, Dooku says as they lead him toward their ship. Sidious cannot be stopped. Not by you. Not by the Jedi. He has prepared for every contingency. Because you're going to testify against him. You're going to tell the Jedi Council everything. And when you're done, Darth Sidious will be exposed, captured, and destroyed. Dooku laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. You think testimony will be enough? You think the Council will act on the word of a Sith Lord against a sitting Supreme Chancellor? You're more naive than I thought. We'll see, Anakin says. They load Dooku onto their ship. As they break orbit and jump to hyperspace, Anakin allows himself one moment of relief. Step 2 complete. Dooku is captured. Now comes the hardest part. Making him talk. The interrogation. The Resolute's detention block is designed for holding separatist commanders, not Sith Lords. Count Dooku sits in a force suppression cell, his aristocratic bearing undiminished despite the circumstances. The cuffs on his wrists prevent any connection to the Force, rendering him as powerless as any ordinary prisoner. But his mind remains sharp. and his eyes track Anakin's entrance with the calculating attention of someone who has survived decades of Sith politics. Obi-Wan stands beside Anakin outside the cell. Inside, Dooku sits on the simple bench, his posture straight despite hours of confinement. A recording device hovers in the corner. Every word will be documented, analyzed, presented to the Council as evidence. He hasn't spoken since we locked him in. Obi-Wan says quietly, refused water, refused food. Just sits there like he's waiting for something. He's waiting to see if Sidious will rescue him, Anakin says. He won't. Sidious doesn't rescue failed apprentices. He replaces them. They enter the cell. Dooku's eyes move from Obi-Wan to Anakin and settle there. Skywalker, come to gloat? Come to give you a choice, Anakin says. He pulls up a chair and sits across from Dooku, close enough that he can see the lines in the old man's face, the weariness beneath the aristocratic mask. You can cooperate and testify against Sidious, or you can protect him and die with him when he falls. Such confidence. You truly believe you can defeat Darth Sidious. Because I've seen what happens when I don't, and I'm not letting that future happen. Dooku's expression shifts slightly. The visions. Tell me, what did you see? What future are you so desperate to prevent? The visions are his greatest asset, and his greatest vulnerability. Knowing them proves his foreknowledge, but revealing their full scope exposes his psychological wounds. He settles on partial truth. I saw myself become Sidious's apprentice, Darth Vader. I saw the Jedi Order destroyed, the Republic transformed into an empire, and billions suffering under Sith rule. I saw you dead, killed by Sidious's orders because you were no longer useful. He made me cut off your head in his office, Dooku. Told me you were too dangerous to be left alive. And I did it, because by that point I was so broken, so corrupted, that I'd do anything he asked. The silence in the cell is profound. Dooku's face has lost some of its color. He had you kill me, on your knees, defenseless, begging for mercy. He told me to do it, and I didn't hesitate. Anakin leans forward. That's what Sidious does, Dooku. He uses people until they're no longer useful. Then he discards them. You thought you were building something with him. A new order, a reformed galaxy. But you were always just a tool. The moment he found a better apprentice, you were finished. And you're offering me what? Salvation? Redemption? I'm offering you revenge. The chance to destroy the man who is going to kill you. The chance to expose his plans before he can execute them. You serve Sidious now, because you believe in his vision. But his vision doesn't include you surviving to see it. Why protect a man who was planning your death? Dooku is quiet for a long moment. His bound hands rest in his lap, and Anakin can see the calculation happening behind his eyes. This is a man who left the Jedi Order because he saw corruption and bureaucracy, who joined the Sith because he believed the galaxy needed strong leadership. But belief and self-preservation are different motivations, and Anakin is betting on the latter. What do you want to know? Dooku asks finally. Everything. Start with Sidious's identity. Confirm it for the record. Dooku looks directly at the recording device. Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine is the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. He has held that position for 13 years while simultaneously orchestrating both sides of this war. Obi-Wan's hand tightens on his lightsaber hilt, though his face remains composed. Anakin continues. The Clone Army. Tell us about its creation. Sidious arranged for Jedi Master Sifo Dyas to commission the Clone Army on Kamino approximately 10 years ago. Sifo Dyas believed he was acting in the Republic's interests, preparing for a coming war he foresaw through the Force. He was partially correct. The war was coming because Sidious was already planning it. Once the Clone Army was commissioned and the initial development was underway, Sifo Dyas became a liability. I killed him personally on Sidious's orders. The casual admission of murdering a Jedi Master lands heavily. Obi-Wan's jaw tightens. Anakin pushes forward. The inhibitor chips, what's their purpose? Each clone trooper has an organic chip implanted in their brainstem during embryonic development. The chips respond to specific verbal commands. Contingency orders numbered 1 through 150. Order 66 is the relevant one. Execute all Jedi officers. When that order is transmitted, every clone in the galaxy will turn on their Jedi commanders and kill them without hesitation, mercy, or the ability to refuse. When was Sidious planning to execute Order 66? When the Jedi are most vulnerable? When they're scattered across the galaxy leading clone battalions, isolated from each other, unable to coordinate a defense? The exact timing depends on several factors: the war's progression, the Senate's willingness to grant further emergency powers, the successful elimination of potential obstacles. Dooku pauses. And the successful recruitment of you, Skywalker. You were meant to be his new apprentice. Everything he's done, the war, the manipulation, the careful cultivation of your relationship, was designed to bring you to his side. I was always expendable once you were ready. Anakin feels the words like a physical weight. 13 years of mentorship, of private conversations, of being made to feel special and valued. All of it calculated. All of it manipulation. The rage that rises in him is hot and immediate, and he has to consciously release it into the Force before it takes root. The Separatist Council, Obi-Wan says. Newt Gunray, Wat Tambor, the other leaders. What was their fate in Sidious's plan? Dooku's lips curve into something bitter. Death. Once the war concluded and the Empire was established, they were to be eliminated. Loose ends. Sidious intended to send his new apprentice, Vader, to slaughter them on Mustafar. No witnesses to the conspiracy, no one who could testify about the manufactured nature of the war. Tell us about the communications, Anakin says. How did you and Sidious coordinate? Encrypted holo transmissions on a private channel. The relay station you ambushed me at was one node in a network of secure communications. Sidious was meticulous about operational security, different channels for different purposes, constantly rotating encryption keys, never meeting in person unless absolutely necessary. Even I rarely saw him face to face. Most of our coordination happened through coded transmissions. Can you access those transmissions? Provide records? The primary archive is on Sidious's personal server in the Senate building. Heavily encrypted, protected by multiple security layers. Even if you accessed it, you'd need his personal decryption keys to make sense of the data. Anakin files this away. Another piece of evidence to gather. Another vulnerability to exploit. What about Sidious's capabilities? His powers? If we move against him, what should we expect? For the first time, something like fear crosses Dooku's face. Darth Sidious is the most powerful Sith Lord in 1,000 years. His mastery of the dark side is complete. His lightsaber skills are formidable. He favors Form 7 Juyo, aggressive and unpredictable. But his real weapon is Force lightning. He can generate storms of electrical energy that will kill most beings in seconds. And his mental powers, Dooku shakes his head. He can cloud minds, manipulate perceptions, twist emotions. Fighting him is not like fighting an ordinary opponent. It's like fighting the dark side itself. Can he be killed? Anything can be killed. But Sidious has survived for decades by being smarter than his enemies. He has contingency plans within contingency plans. If you move against him and fail, he will destroy you. And if you move against him and succeed, you should pray he doesn't have a method to transfer his consciousness to another vessel. There are Sith techniques, ancient dark rituals, that allow essence transfer upon death. I don't know if Sidious has mastered them, but I wouldn't bet against it. This is new information, something the visions didn't show clearly. Anakin makes a mental note. Killing Sidious might not be enough. They need to ensure he's truly dead, with no possibility of return. One more question, Anakin says. In the future I saw, after Order 66, after the Empire rises, what happens to the separatist worlds? The systems that genuinely wanted independence from Republic corruption. The Empire recognizes no independence. Every system becomes an imperial holding, governed by Moffs loyal to Sidious, enforced by the Imperial military. The ideals I fought for, reform, decentralization, freedom from Republic bureaucracy, become meaningless. The Empire is everything the Republic was, amplified and made explicitly authoritarian. So you fought for nothing. I fought for a lie. Dooku's voice is hollow. I believed Sidious when he said we were building something better. I was a fool. Anakin stands. You were, but you can still do something useful. The council is convening in 3 hours. You're going to repeat everything you just told us. On the record. In front of witnesses. And then we're using your testimony to take down Sidious. And what happens to me after? That's up to the council. But I'll argue for life imprisonment instead of execution. You cooperated. That counts for something. Dooku nods slowly. I accept those terms. The consul strikes. The full Jedi Council assembles in the temple's main chamber. All 12 seats filled. Yoda presiding. Mace Windu standing with arms crossed. Obi-Wan beside Anakin. Plo Koon, Kiadi Mundi, Shak T via hologram from Camino, Ceci Tien, Agent Kolar, Kit Fisto, Stas Ali, Adi Gallia, and Coleman Trebor, every master who will in the original timeline died during or immediately after Order 66. Seeing them all together, alive and alert, hits Anakin with unexpected force. Dooku's holographic testimony plays in the center of the chamber, every word documented, every admission recorded. When it finishes, the silence is heavy with implication. Troubling this is, Yoda says quietly. Most troubling. Kiadi Mundi speaks, his voice controlled but strained. The Chancellor of the Republic is a Sith Lord. For 13 years he's been manipulating us, using us as tools in a war he created, and we never sensed it. Because he's that good at hiding, Mace says. His Shatterpoint ability has been active throughout the session, reading the fault lines in the situation. The question now is, what do we do about it? We arrest him, Anakin says. We move now before he realizes Dooku is compromised, before he can activate Order 66 or flee. Arresting the Supreme Chancellor requires evidence the Senate will accept, Adi Gallia points out. Dooku's testimony is powerful, but he's a Sith Lord and a separatist leader. Palpatine's supporters will claim he's lying to save himself. Access to his private communications, the encrypted channels Dooku mentioned, physical proof linking Palpatine to the separatist leadership, and the chips, Anakin adds. We've removed over 300 now from the 501st and started on the 212th. Every chip we extract is proof of the conspiracy. The Kaminoans can testify about who ordered them. Shak T's hologram speaks from Kamino. I've been investigating here since you sent word. The Kaminoans are cooperative when presented with evidence. They confirm the chips were commissioned by someone using Jedi credentials, specifically using Sifo Dyas's authorization codes after his death. The order came from the Chancellor's office, though the Kaminoans didn't realize the true source at the time. That's traceable evidence, Mace says. Financial records, communication logs, authorization chains, combined with Dooku's testimony and the chips themselves, we have a case. If we move against Palpatine without political support, we risk civil war. The Senate needs to see the evidence simultaneously with our action. Anakin shakes his head. That gives Palpatine time to spin the narrative. He spent 13 years building political capital. If we present evidence to the Senate and give him time to respond, he'll turn it into a Jedi coup attempt. We need to arrest him first, then present the evidence. That is the very definition of a coup, Coleman Trebor says. Not if we're right, Anakin counters. Not if the evidence is overwhelming. Not if we coordinate with Senate allies, Padme Amidala, Bail Organa, Mon Mothma, to present the truth while we secure Palpatine. Dangerous this path is. If wrong we are, we're not wrong, Anakin interrupts. Master Yoda, I've seen the alternative. I've seen what happens if we wait, if we deliberate, if we try to build consensus before acting. That future ends with you dueling Sidious in the Senate chamber and losing. It ends with Mace Windu and 3 other masters dead in Palpatine's office, because you went with too few Jedi and gave him the opening he needed. It ends with every Jedi in the galaxy executed by their own clone troopers. I will not let that future happen, because we were too cautious to act. The Council is silent. Mace Windu steps forward. Skywalker's visions have been accurate so far. The chips exist where he said they would. Dooku confirmed what Skywalker predicted. Palpatine's behavior, when examined through the lens of Sidious, makes perfect sense. I believe the threat is real. The question is, do we have the courage to act on it? His presence in the Force extends outward, reaching toward the Senate building, toward the office where Sheev Palpatine sits playing Chancellor. For the first time in decades, Yoda looks beneath the carefully constructed facade and sees what's underneath. The darkness is staggering, ancient, patient, vast. How did they miss it for so long? Act we must, Yoda says, his eyes open. But carefully, wisely, with overwhelming force and ironclad evidence. The strike team, who goes? I do, Mace says, immediately. My Vapod is specifically designed to counter dark side opponents. I'm going, Anakin says. I know his tactics, his patterns, his psychology. As am I, Obi-Wan adds. Anakin will need support. His small frame straightens. Face Sidious, I must. For 900 years, trained Jedi I have. Failed to see this darkness I did. My responsibility this is. Kit Fisto, Ajahn Kolar, and Ceci Tien volunteer. Plo Koon insists on joining. The strike team grows to 8 Jedi, far more than the 4 who went to arrest Palpatine in the original timeline. Anakin feels a grim satisfaction. Overwhelming force. No fair fight. No opportunity for Sidious to use his speed and lightning to eliminate isolated opponents. The Senate allies, Mace says. Who coordinates with them? I will, Adigalia volunteers. Senator Amidala and I have worked together before. I'll brief her, Organa, and Mon Mothma. They'll prepare an emergency session. When we have Palpatine in custody, they'll present the evidence before he can control the narrative. The clones, Anakin says. Rex and the chip-free troopers need to secure the Senate building. No reinforcements for Palpatine. No Senate guards interfering. Agreed, Mace says. Rex will coordinate with Commander Cody and Commander Wolf. Chip-free clones only. We can't risk any trooper who might still respond to Order 66. The plan crystallizes. 8 Jedi will go to Palpatine's office at the end of the Senate's working day, when he's alone with minimal security. Adigalia will coordinate with Senate allies to prepare an emergency session. Rex and the chip-free clones will secure the building's perimeter. When Palpatine is in custody, the evidence presentation begins. One thing, Anakin says. When we enter that office, Sidious will know immediately what we're there for. He won't surrender. He won't come quietly. He's going to fight, and he's going to try to kill us. We need to be prepared for that. Then we don't give him the chance, Mace says. We don't announce ourselves. We don't give speeches. We enter with blades ignited and force power ready. We overwhelm him before he can mount a defense. That's not the Jedi way, Coleman Trebor says quietly. The Jedi way got 3 masters killed in the timeline Anakin saw. Mace counters. I'm not interested in honor. I'm interested in survival. Ours and the Order's. Yoda nods slowly. Agree, I do. Survive we must. Not just for ourselves, but for all the Jedi who will die if we fail. Compassion for the many we show by being ruthless with the one. Go we shall. Tonight, before Sidious realizes Dooku is compromised, the walk to darkness, evening on Coruscant, the sun filtered through kilometers of atmosphere and layers of city casts, long shadows across the Senate district. Anakin walks through the building's corridors flanked by 7 other Jedi, and the weight of what they're about to do presses down on him with every step. He's wearing his Jedi robes, lightsaber visible at his belt. Beside him, Obi-Wan walks with the calm he carries into every dangerous situation. But Anakin can feel the tension beneath. On his other side, Mace Windu's presence in the Force is sharp and focused, Vapad already humming at the edge of activation. Yoda walks ahead, his stick tapping softly on the marble floor, his small form somehow commanding despite his size. Kit Fisto, Ajahn Kolar, Sese Tien, and Plo Koon spread out in formation, ready for combat, ready for anything. They pass Senate guards who nod respectfully, pass administrative staff who barely glance up from their datapads. The Senate building at this hour is winding down, most offices empty, most senators gone home or to evening engagements. Palpatine remains in his office. They confirmed his presence through surveillance before entering. Anakin's hands are steady, but inside he's screaming. Every step toward Palpatine's office is a step toward the place where, in another timeline, he becomes Darth Vader. This is the building where he falls. This is the corridor he walked down in his visions, lightsaber in hand, about to commit atrocities at Sidious's command. Not today. Today he walks toward Sidious to end him, not serve him. Anakin, Obi-Wan says quietly. Are you all right? Fine. You're not. I can feel it through the Force. Talk to me. In the visions, I walked these halls. After I fell, after I became Vader, I walked to the Jedi Temple and killed younglings. I walked these halls with red in my lightsaber and murder in my heart, and now I'm walking them again, and I'm terrified that just being here will trigger something, some choice, some decision that starts me down that path. Obi-Wan puts his hand on Anakin's shoulder as they walk. You're not alone this time. That's the difference. In the vision, you walked alone. Here, you have 7 Jedi Masters beside you. You have Rex and the clones securing the perimeter. You have Padme and Bail waiting to reveal the truth. You're not isolated. You're not vulnerable to Sidious's manipulation. And most importantly, you're aware of what he'll try to do. Forewarned is forearmed. Even while we're fighting him, he'll say something. Something about Padme, about saving her, about power. And part of me will want to listen. Then the rest of you will remember what listening costs, and we'll be there to pull you back if you start to fall. Obi-Wan's voice is firm. I'm not losing you to him, Anakin. Not today. Not ever. Palpatine's secretary has gone home. Her desk is empty. Her terminal dark. The door to the Chancellor's private office is closed. Beyond it, Anakin can feel the darkness. Vast. Patient. Waiting. He knows we're coming, Anakin says. How? Mace asks. The Force. He can feel 8 Jedi approaching with hostile intent. He's had seconds to prepare. Maybe more. Then we don't give him more time, Mace says. Yoda? The door to Palpatine's office tears off its hinges with a wrenching of metal and crashes into the far wall. The 8 Jedi enter simultaneously, spreading into a semicircle, lightsabers igniting in a chorus of colored light. Blue, purple, green, the weapons of the Jedi Order brought to bear on the man who planned their extinction. Sheev Palpatine sits behind his desk. The panoramic window behind him shows Coruscant's endless sprawl, lights beginning to twinkle as evening becomes night. He's in his chancellor's robes, his hands folded on the desk, his expression mild. When he speaks, his voice carries the warm, grandfatherly tone Anakin knows too well. My dear Jedi, this is unexpected. To what do I owe this rather dramatic entrance? Supreme Chancellor Sheev Palpatine, Mace Windu says formally, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic, conspiracy to commit genocide, war crimes, and operating as the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. For 3 seconds, Palpatine doesn't move. Then his expression transforms. Not slowly, instantly. The kindly Chancellor vanishes like smoke. What remains is something ancient and cold, and filled with malice so profound it radiates darkness into the Force, like heat from a star. I am impressed, Sidious says. His voice has dropped an octave, all pretense stripped away. Truly impressed. You discovered my identity, captured my apprentice, and brought 8 Jedi to arrest me. Someone has been very clever. His yellow eyes find Anakin. You, the chosen one. You saw something, didn't you? Saw the future I was building. Saw yourself at my side. And you decided to prevent it. I decided not to become your slave, Anakin says. Slave? I was going to make you a god. I was going to give you power beyond imagination. Together we would have ruled the galaxy, brought order to chaos, ended the endless squabbling of democracy with benevolent despotism. You would have saved your wife from death itself. Sidious stands slowly. And you threw it away? For what? The Jedi Code? The attachment doctrine you've been violating since Geonosis? I threw it away because I saw what you turned me into, Anakin says. A monster in a black suit who serves you for decades while everyone I love suffers. That's not power. That's slavery. And I'm done being manipulated by you. Sidious's smile is terrible. Then you've chosen death. His hands come up. Force lightning erupts from both, not targeted at one Jedi but dispersed in a wave that fills the entire office. The power is staggering, far beyond what Dooku could generate, far beyond what any of them expected. The lightning strikes Agen Kolar before he can raise his blade to block. The Zabrak Jedi Master convulses and falls, smoke rising from his robes. 7 Jedi remain. The duel. The office explodes into chaos. Sidious moves with speed that makes him a blur, abandoning the elderly Chancellor's stoop for the predatory grace of a Sith Lord in his prime. Twin crimson blades appear from concealed holsters in his sleeves, igniting as he leaps across the desk directly at Mace Windu. Mace meets him with Vapad. Purple blade clashes with red, and the force of the impact cracks the desk beneath them. Sidious spins, disengaging from Mace to slash at Kit Fisto. Kit's green blade catches the strike, but Sidious's offhand blade comes around for Kit's exposed side. Kit blocks with a force push that staggers Sidious back 3 steps. Yoda enters the fray, his small green blade moving in Ataru patterns, leaping, spinning, using his size and speed to attack from angles Sidious can't easily track. For a moment, the 3-on-1 coordination works. Sidious is pressed toward the window, his blades working in frantic defensive patterns. Then he roars. The sound is not human, it's raw dark side power given voice. A force wave explodes outward from him, throwing everyone back. Saesee Tin crashes into a wall. Plo Koon slides across the floor. Anakin catches himself with the force, maintaining his footing. Sidious uses the opening to focus on Kit Fisto. His blades move in Juyo patterns, aggressive, unpredictable, designed to overwhelm rather than parry. Kit's Shicho defense is solid, but Sidious is faster. One blade feints high. Kit blocks. The other blade comes low and pierces Kit's abdomen. The Nautilan Master's eyes widen. He falls. 6 Jedi remain. Is this the best the Order can offer? Sidious taunts. I expected more from the great Jedi Masters. You're nothing but insects before the storm. Anakin charges. His Gemso aggression meets Sidious's Juyo chaos, and for a moment they're locked blade to blade, faces inches apart. Sidious's yellow eyes bore into him. You think you can resist me, boy? I've been planning your seduction since you were 9 years old. I know every fear, every desire, every weakness. You're mine, whether you admit it or not. I'm not, Anakin says. He channels power into his blade and pushes, forcing Sidious back. Obi-Wan flanks from the left, his Soresu defense covering Anakin's exposed side. Mace comes from the right, Vapad channeling Sidious's dark side energy back into counterattacks. Yoda circles from behind, waiting for an opening. They fight as a unit. Every time Sidious focuses on one opponent, another strikes. His lightning lashes out in bursts, caught on lightsaber blades, absorbed by force barriers, redirected into the walls and floor. The Chancellor's office becomes a war zone. Furniture explodes. Windows shatter. The elegant space where galactic policy was made transforms into scorched ruin. But Sidious is tiring. Anakin can see it. The speed is diminishing slightly. The lightning is less frequent. Fighting 6 Jedi Masters simultaneously, even for Darth Sidious, is unsustainable. You cannot win, Yoda says, his small voice cutting through the chaos. Outnumbered you are. Outmatched. Surrender you must. Never. Sidious unleashes another lightning storm, this time directed at the ceiling. The structural supports crack. Debris rains down. Everyone is forced to defend against falling metal and stone rather than attack. Sidious uses the distraction to target Saesee Tiin. His blade finds the Iktochi Master's throat. Saesee falls. 5 Jedi remain. Plo Koon moves in immediately, his blue blade pressing the attack. Sidious parries and counters, but he's slower now. Genuinely tired. The Force lightning comes again, aimed at Plo Koon's face. Plo's mask protects him from the worst of it, but the energy staggers him backward. Mace sees the opening. He surges forward, Vapad at full power, channeling every ounce of Sidious's dark side energy into a devastating overhead strike. Sidious blocks, but the Force drives him to one knee. Anakin comes from the opposite side, his blade descending towards Sidious's shoulder. Sidious rolls away at the last second, the blade missing by centimeters. He's against the shattered window now. Coruscant's lights thousands of meters below. His robes are torn. His face is scratched, but his eyes burn with sulfuric hatred, undiminished. You think you've won? He hisses. You think arresting me ends this? I have contingencies. I have allies. I have plans within plans. Even in death, I will return. The Sith are eternal. Then let's test that theory, Mace says. He advances, purple blade raised. Sidious drops his lightsabers, falls to his knees. His face transforms. The malice receding, the elderly Chancellor's features reasserting. Please. I'm too weak. Don't kill me. I surrender. I'll testify. I'll reveal everything. Just don't kill me. The room goes still. Anakin knows this trick, saw it in his visions. This is the moment, the exact moment, where in the original timeline, Sidious played helpless, and when Mace moved to execute him, Anakin intervened. Cut off Mace's hand, chose Sidious over the Jedi. He's lying, Anakin says clearly. He's not helpless. He's waiting for someone to get close enough to kill. I know, Mace says. His blade doesn't waver. I can see it. Shatterpoint shows me the deception. Sidious's mask cracks. The yellow eyes return. Clever boy, you've learned. But it doesn't matter. You're still a heartbeat away from falling. I can feel your anger, your fear. The dark side calls to you, Anakin Skywalker. It always will. Maybe, Anakin says. But today I'm not listening. Yoda steps forward. Darth Sidious, by the authority of the Jedi Order and the Republic, you betrayed. Judgment upon you, we pass. The Jedi passing judgment. How deliciously ironic. You're no better than I am. You just hide behind dogma and pretend your violence is righteous. Justice is not revenge, Yoda says quietly, but necessary it sometimes is. Mace Windu raises his lightsaber. For the Jedi who died at your command, for the Republic you corrupted, for the galaxy you would have enslaved, the purple blade descends. Sidious's last attempt, A final burst of force lightning from his hands erupts toward Mace. But Anakin is faster. He extends both hands and catches the lightning, absorbing it into his own force energy, channeling it away from Mace and into the floor. The power burns through him, painful and electric, but he holds it, keeps Mace safe. Mace's blade completes its arc. The strike is clean, precise, final. Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, collapses, his eyes dim. The darkness that radiated from him, that ancient, patient malice, disperses into the Force and is gone. For a moment, no one moves. The office is destroyed. 3 Jedi Masters lie dead. But Sidious is dead too. The threat that would have destroyed them all is ended. Anakin releases the lightning he was holding. His hands are burned, skin reddened and blistered. Obi-Wan immediately moves to his side. "Anakin, are you?" "I'm fine. It's not bad." He looks down at Sidious's body. Feels nothing. No triumph, no relief. Just exhaustion and the fading echo of the dark side's call. "It's over." "Yes," Yoda says softly. He looks at the fallen masters. Agen Kolar, Kit Fisto, CCTN. At great cost. But over it is. The aftermath. The Senate emergency session convenes within the hour. Bail Organa presides in the absence of a chancellor. Padme Amidala presents the evidence. Dooku's testimony played in full. The inhibitor chip documentation, the financial records linking Palpatine to both sides of the war, and the testimony of the Jedi Masters who fought Sidious in his office. The chamber is in uproar. Senators scream accusations. Palpatine loyalists demand proof. But the evidence is overwhelming, and Bail Organa, supported by Mon Mothma and Padme, maintains order through sheer force of will. "The Supreme Chancellor was a Sith Lord," Bail says, his voice carrying through the chamber. "For 13 years he manipulated us. He created this war. He commissioned an army designed to turn on us. And he planned to crown himself emperor over the ashes of our democracy. The evidence is irrefutable." The vote to dissolve Palpatine's emergency powers passes with overwhelming majority. The vote to establish a temporary governing council to manage the transition passes immediately after. The Republic survives, wounded but alive. Rex coordinates the clone chip removal across the entire Grand Army. With Sidious dead and Dooku's testimony public, the Kaminoans cooperate fully. Over the following months, millions of clone troopers are freed from the control mechanisms in their brains. Many choose to continue serving in the Republic military. Many choose civilian life. All are given the choice. The Separatist leadership, cornered on Mustafar without Sidious's protection, surrenders. General Grievous is destroyed by Obi-Wan in a final confrontation. The Clone Wars end not with genocide and empire, but with negotiation and peace. The Separatist grievances, corruption in the Republic, over-centralization, corporate influence, are addressed through political reform rather than ignored. Count Dooku is tried and sentenced to life imprisonment. He spends his remaining years in a force suppression cell, occasionally consulted by the Jedi Council on matters of Sith history and dark-side lore. He provides information on Sidious's contingency plans, including the possibility of essence transfer. Jedi investigators find and destroy several hidden cloning facilities where Sidious had prepared vessels for his consciousness. The threat is truly ended. The Jedi Council debates for weeks about the visions, the attachment doctrine, and the role the Order should play in galactic governance. The debates are contentious. Mace Windu argues for traditional interpretations. Plo Koon and Obi-Wan argue for reform. Yoda listens to everything and finally makes a decision. The choice. 3 months after Sidious's death. The Jedi Temple Meditation Chamber. Anakin sits before the Council one final time. "Young Skywalker," Yoda begins. "Much you have done. Saved the Order. Saved the Republic. Saved perhaps the galaxy itself. Grateful we are. But questions remain. About the visions. About your marriage. About the path you walk. I'm married to Padme Amidala. I've been married to her for 3 years. I'm not giving her up. I'm not hiding it anymore. If the Council has a problem with that, then I'll leave the Order." "That won't be necessary," Plo Koon says. "The Council has been discussing the attachment doctrine. Your case has made us reconsider certain assumptions we've held for centuries. The visions you saw showed you falling because of fear of loss, fear of losing Padme, fear of losing control. But in reality, you didn't fall. You prevented the future you saw specifically because of those attachments, because Rex's loyalty mattered to you. Because Obi-Wan's brotherhood mattered. Because love mattered. The code's prohibition on attachment may require revision. Anakin stares. You're saying? We're saying the code is not perfect, Obi-Wan says. We're saying that wisdom requires adapting to new understanding. You've proven that attachment, properly managed, is not the path to darkness. Fear of loss is, possessiveness is, but love itself, he smiles. Love is what saved us. Yoda nods slowly. A new way we must find. Balance between emotion and control. Between attachment and serenity. Your marriage, Skywalker. Acknowledge it, we do. Accept it, we do. But teach you we must how to hold love without grasping. How to accept loss without falling to despair. I can learn that, Anakin says. I want to learn that. Then, remain with the Order, you will. But differently. Not as a traditional Jedi Knight. As something new. A Jedi who understands both light and darkness. Who carries the weight of terrible knowledge. Who chooses light not through ignorance but through wisdom. Yoda's ancient eyes are warm. Proud of you I am, Anakin Skywalker. Proud of the man you chose to become. The lake house where Anakin and Padme were secretly married sits beside tranquil water, mountains rising in the distance. Padme is heavily pregnant now. The twins will arrive within weeks. She sits on the veranda reading reports from the Senate, where she continues to serve Naboo, even while preparing for motherhood. Anakin emerges from the house carrying tea. He's learned to make it the way Obi-Wan does. Simple, meditative, the kind of small ritual that keeps him centered. He sets the cups on the table and sits beside her. Any news from Coruscant, he asks. Bail has been elected to the temporary council. Mon Mothma is leading the Reform Commission. The Senate is actually functioning like a democracy again. It's strange seeing what happens when we're not constantly responding to emergencies. She looks at him. How are you feeling? Good. The nightmares are less frequent. I can close my eyes now without seeing the visions every time. Obi-Wan says it's progress. You're healing. I don't know if I'll ever fully heal. The memories don't fade, Padme. I still remember what I became, what I did, the younglings, Mustafar, all of it. It's just quieter now, like scar tissue instead of open wounds. She takes his hand. You didn't become that person. You prevented it. That's what matters. I prevented it because I saw it, because the Father gave me the burden of knowing. Sometimes I wonder if keeping those memories was the right choice. You saved billions of lives, Anakin. You saved our children. Her hand rests on her pregnant belly, feeling the twins move inside. That was the right choice. Anakin reaches out through the Force and feels them. Two bright presences, strong in the Force, carrying his potential and Padme's fierce spirit. Luke and Leia, he already knows their names, has known them since the visions, even though in the visions he never learned about their existence. Some things the Force keeps as mysteries until they're ready to be revealed. They're going to be extraordinary, he says softly. They're going to be loved. That's better than extraordinary. He brings news from Coruscant. The chip removal program is 98% complete. Only a few thousand clones remaining in the Outer Rim territories still to be processed. The boys are free, General, Rex says. He still uses Anakin's old rank, unable to break the habit. Every last one of us. Because of you. Because of all of us, Anakin corrects. You trusted me when I told you about the chips. That took courage I'll never forget. They sit on the veranda and talk, not about war or Sith Lords or galactic politics, but about simpler things. Rex's plans for civilian life. The baby clones on Kamino who will now be raised with choices instead of programming. The community of freed troopers forming on Naboo, where several dozen have chosen to settle. Obi-Wan visits the next day, bringing Ahsoka with him. She's 17 now, still not formally returned to the Jedi Order, but working closely with them on rebuilding efforts. She's found her own path, something between Jedi and independent Force user, something that fits her better than the rigid structure ever did. How's the Council treating you? Anakin asks as they walk along the lake. Better. Master Plo has been pushing for reforms, allowing emotional connections, letting Jedi maintain family ties if they choose. It's slow, but it's happening. You started something, Sky Guy. I just showed them that the code isn't perfect, that it can be better. You showed them that love isn't weakness. That's bigger than you think. That evening, all of them sit together on the veranda. Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rex, 5 people who, in another timeline, would have been torn apart by Sidious's plans. Here, together sharing a meal and watching the sunset over water that reflects gold and crimson. I have a question, Padme says. Anakin, if you could go back, if you could choose not to keep the memories from Mortis, to let the father wipe them away and live without knowing what might have happened, would you? Anakin considers. The memories are still painful. The visions still haunt his dreams. The knowledge of what he could become sits in his mind like a shadow that never fully lifts. But he looks around the veranda, at Obi-Wan, alive and whole instead of spending 20 years in exile. At Ahsoka, bright and independent instead of hunted and alone. At Rex, free instead of enslaved by a chip. At Padme, alive and carrying their children instead of dead in a medical bay on Polis Massa. No, he says. I wouldn't change it. The burden was worth carrying. Even though it hurt, Ahsoka asks, especially because it hurt. The pain kept me honest. Kept me fighting. If I'd forgotten, if I'd stayed ignorant, all of you would have suffered for it. I'll carry the memories forever if it means you get to live free. Yoda's final words to him, spoken before Anakin left Coruscant, echo in his mind. The burden you carry, heavy it is, but stronger you are for bearing it. The Chosen One brought balance not through destruction, but through choice, through knowledge, through love, fulfilled the prophecy you have, in the way that mattered most. As darkness falls over Naboo, as the first stars appear in the evening sky, Anakin Skywalker, no longer the reckless Jedi Knight, no longer the slave to fear and prophecy, sits surrounded by family and feels something he thought the visions would forever deny him. Peace, not the absence of struggle, not the erasure of the memories, but the quiet satisfaction of someone who looked into the abyss of what he might become and chose differently. In the years that follow, Luke and Leia are born healthy and strong. They grow up on Naboo, trained by their father in the Force, but never burdened with the weight of expectations or prophecy. The Jedi Order reforms under Yoda's guidance, slowly embracing a more balanced approach to emotion and attachment. The Republic stabilizes, scarred by war but strengthened by the knowledge of how close they came to losing everything. And Anakin carries the memories still. On difficult days, he feels the mechanical breathing of Darth Vader echoing in his mind. He sees the younglings' faces. He feels Padme's throat beneath his mechanical hand. The visions never fully leave, but neither does the choice he made to prevent them. The future is unwritten now, no longer fixed, no longer predetermined by Sith manipulation or prophecy. Open, free, full of possibility. And that, Anakin thinks as he watches his children play by the lake, is worth every nightmare, every scar, every burden he carries. The Chosen One brought balance, not through becoming Darth Vader and destroying the Sith after decades of darkness, but through refusing to fall in the first place, through choosing light with eyes wide open to the darkness within. The Force is balanced, the galaxy is free, and Anakin Skywalker at last is at peace. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.